Okay, hello there, I'm Dennis. And in this video, we're going to do a little something different. I just did the video where I installed ObarunOS, a SystemD free OS system based on Arch Linux without SystemD. Oberon comes with more desktops. If you watch the video, I did have an option to install JWM, Minimal, OpenBox, Plasma, as well as XFCE4. Over on their installation guide, they tell you here you can choose between a base Oberon, which is called the Minimal, system without a graphical environment, JWM, J Windows Manager, OpenBox, and XFCE4 and KDE. So today, I'm going to go through the installation of ObarunOS, but I'm only going to demonstrate once I do the first one, the installation. The installation will be exactly the same with the exception of that one option there where you can select these different desktops. So I've got it set up in my VirtualBox. I've given it 8 gigabytes of RAM, 2 cores of my processor. I turned the video memory all the way up. And I have found that if I use the VBox SVGA driver, graphics controller, that I get better results. So I'm going to leave it at that. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I'll give it a 72 gigabyte virtual hard drive as well. Our first option here is boot Oberon, and that's what I'm going to do, but it does offer persistence. And we'll talk about that after I hit the boot here. Persistence usually means that on the ISO, they've allocated a partition, basically, with so much space on it to where you can actually save some files. Okay, so we're going to sign in as OBLIVE, and the root or the password is tour, root spelled backwards. And we're going to boot into JWM. Like I said before, the first thing they concern themselves with, which is a phenomenal option right off the bat. I don't know that I've seen this. I've seen them where when you start the installation, it says, hey, we can't do this because you're not online. But it shows we're online. It's using IPv4. We'll close that out, do something about the resolution real quick. Using AR&R. For the outputs, we got 1. Resolution, we're going to change that to 14 by 900, that will work. Press enter and get out of that. Okay, so this is ObarunOS, and what you're seeing is the J Windows Manager. Now, if you install it, when you have that option to install JWM, if you install it, this is exactly what you'll see. So let's go through this before I start the installer, because once I start the installer, it takes over and we can't talk about anything else. Okay, they got this menu here. Let's see, is there a possible right click menu? There is, but it opens up the same thing as a left click. Under accessories, we got Clip It, Calculator, Space FM for a file browser, Terminator for a terminal, X Archiver, Compton for some effects, PyCom, I believe that has something to do with, without PyCom, you can't look at thumbnails. I had to install this one time on another one in order to get thumbnails. Not on Oberon, but something else, and I just don't remember. I'm going to look this up, and I'll put a title here, because I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, development, we got Kde, if I can hold the mouse still. Under graphics, we have Geeky. Under multimedia, we have the Echo Mixer and some NV24 and some Jack stuff. Pro Media Player and Volume Icon. Under network, they use Midori as the default web browser, although Chromium and Firefox will install. Under Office, we have a PDF viewer. Other, we have GM Run, which is similar to a run command in Windows. All right, let's see. That was under others. And under settings, we have the AR&R, which we just used. Conman settings. This is for connecting to networks. Customized look and feel. Let's open that up real quick. And as you can see, you can get a pretty good array of customizations that you can do. Now, nothing I do right now is going to apply, but you do have quite a few here right off the bat or out of the box. I kind of sort of like that one. A little bright, but scheming is okay. Let's see. That didn't help that none. Of course, I hadn't applied. What I'm talking about is when you click on a icon, I can't read that. I don't know what's happening to it. I thought it was the theming. Fans of ambiance, fans of dark. Let's say apply. All right, so it made no difference. So this is the JWM right here. Let's see here, I believe is a terminator. This is Kde, or Kde is root, text editor. Space FM is root. I kind of like that function right there. This one is the Midori Web Browser. Let's see, is there a help or about? There we go. Midori Web Browser 9.0. Personally, I don't even use Midori. I've not had good luck with it. That looks like clip it, the volume, and time. We got workspaces here. So let's go ahead and get the installer going. There's system configuration. We can do some theming, install, reconfigure, execute, lock screen, and exit. But we're going to click on the install. And let's get started here. Now, there's no need to actually install in JWM at this point because we just looked at it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get up to this point in the installation where you have these options. And then I'll probably cut that out up to that point and then cut out and start over in the actual desktop itself. So you won't have to sit there and watch me install OpenBox, Plasma, or etc. All right, so it does say on the web page that we need to run these updates right here. Without it, things may not work. So it's going to update the installer. Then we're going to be asked to update the theming. Say OK. Yes, it's selected by default. And we're fixing to get into the installation here. Here we have an instructional sheet, if you will, telling you how to navigate using your arrow keys, spacebar to select, how to navigate between fields using a tab or a page up and page down. I'm going to say OK. And immediately I'm going to use the page down all the way to the bottom there and select US English. Press enter. Path to the mounted disk for installation is MNT. That is correct. BIOS is correct. A desktop environment. See here, we could select JWM, which it is by default, or we have a minimal, and then we have OpenBox, Plasma, XFCE4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install the minimal on camera, and you'll see what's all comes involved there. You don't get really anything but a terminal, like a basic base Arch Linux installation. And then I'll bypass or cut out all the installation of OpenBox and Plasma. I'll take up right there. For this one, we're going to say minimal. Configure the environment. We're going to change the editor to nano. For me, that was very important. I'm not going to mess with the pacman.conf file. And I'm going to tab to return and press enter. Choose a bootloader. I'm going to select Grub. Disk partition. Now they say an optional, but I'm not going to. I'm going to do the partitioning. So I'm going to use CF disk. That is the right hard drive. Select DOS because we're in the master boot record. Legacy BIOS. I've allocated 12 gigabytes for swap space. Primary, slide over to type, hit enter, go up one for me there, Linux swap. Arrow down, new. And let's give this a little more for the root drive. And I'm going to slide over to bootable and I'm going to press enter. And if you'll notice under the boot, at the upper left of the screen there, asterisk appeared. I'm gonna arrow down to the free space there, hit enter, and hit enter. Now I'm ready to write this out. We've got our swap and 2 partitions for our root drive and our home drive. So I'm gonna write it out, type in the word yes, and hit enter. We're ready to quit, and that'll drop us back into our installer. Now we're going to format those partitions. First one I'm going to partition is SDA2. That's going to be an ext4. Press enter. Next one will be SDA3, and that's going to be ext4. Press enter. All right, so I'm going to tab to done. Here we're going to mount the partitions. Select the partition to mount. So SDA1 is my swap. I'm going to press enter. And it says if it is a swap space or a swap partition, then type in the word swap. Enter swap for swap partition. Press enter. Now the next one will be SDA2. That will go to /MNT. All right, the next one will be SDA3, and that'll be /MNT/home. Enter. All right, and I'm going to tab to done. We've mounted, we've partitioned the disk, we've formatted this, and we've mounted them. So I'm going to tab to return, hit enter, press tab to return again, hit enter. The mirrors, that's probably a good idea. By default, it selects worldwide, and that's what I'm going to select. All right, advanced options, there's nothing in here that I personally found that I needed. So I'm going to tab to return, and then I'm going to tab to install. And now the installation is on the way. Let's go back over here. And this is their installation guide. First off, this is the wiki. And it gives you the instructions on how to find different stuff, and the actual installation. There's a tab here that carries you to the installation. You should be prompted to update the updater, and we would be prompted to update and install themes, which we did. We went through these options right here: the path, the detected method, the desktop environment. Configure the environment. I don't remember if we did anything in there or not. I think I did. Yeah, I chose the editor, Nano. A bootloader, I selected Grub. Disk partition, we partitioned them, formatted them, and mounted them. Activated the mirrors worldwide. That was the fastest. Nothing in the advanced options that we changed. And at that point, we tabbed to install, and that's what we're seeing now. See where we're at. So it's 50%. It's 62% complete. I'm probably going to just pause the video. I'll be back when this gets finished. Actually not. I'm just going to be quiet and speed through this. Okay, so it's through downloading and installing the base, and now it's starting to install the desktop, which, as you can see, it's only 118 megabyte download, so very small. Okay, so now we're at the next prompt, and it's asking for a root password, and you'll be prompted to type it twice. All right, now do I want to install a bootloader? Yes. It's asking me now, where do you want to install the bootloader? So I did that on SDA2. I made that bootable. Say okay. What we want to see here is Installation complete with no errors. And our next prompt, do we want to manually edit the grub.cfg? No, maybe later. All right, now we're going to enter a username and a host name and that kind of stuff. Host name, we'll just call this ObarunOS. That's good, hit enter. All right, so the locale there is correct already, but the local time is not, so I'm going to open that up and page down a couple times, 3 times to be exact, go up to America, Chicago for me. Define a new user. Let's call this user Dennis. Hit enter. The consoles, the desktop are offset to US. That's fine. Advanced options, not going to do any of those things. Back, and we're going to apply, and it'll apply my user and ask me for a password. And we should say the installation is complete and we could reboot. System was installed successfully. You can now reboot, but I'm not going to reboot. And remember, we signed in as a user, so I'm going to power off. Enter Obliv's password, not yours. And when it gets through powering off, we'll remove the ISO. All right, it's right here. I'm going to remove that, and let's get started again. There's our grub, always a great sign. And now we're going to be prompted to log in. So I'm going to log in as my user to make sure that account got set up, give it my password, and there we go. I can say sudo pacman-syyyu. It's going to ask me for my password, and now it's going to check for updates. And there we go. Now we've got a basic base Arch installation set up with a lot of the codecs and streamers and utilities that you're already going to need set up and ready for you. This is a base installation. If that's all you're interested in, or for me, I think the attraction here would be because now at this point, I can install XFCE 4 and not have to install anything else if I don't want it. I could add the goodies if I want it. Firefox, whatever the case may be, you've got a blank slate right here. And if you're interested in creating a minimal type environment, whether it be a full-on desktop environment or a Windows manager, at this point, you do have that. Really nothing to look around. We can say lsblk, and we can see that we have SDA 1, 2, and 3. Let's see. Let's go sudo pacman-s neofet. At the prompt, we're going to say yes. Let's run neofet. There's our neofet. We got a little glitch going on, but that's okay. That could even be something to do with my graphics driver. And there we go. There's a base installation of Arch Linux done by ObarunOS, completely SystemD free. That's your minimal desktop. Not even a desktop. So we've seen the JWM and now the minimal. Now I'm going to install these, but I'm not going to let you sit through all of the actual installation like we just did. So I'm going to cut this out. Where I pick up the next desktops, I will already have been installed them and we'll be on them. Okay. Okay, so I'm at the stage in the installation where I'm going to select the desktop environment and I'm going to hit enter. And this time I'm going to select OpenBox. The installation of OpenBox has completed. powered off, and I'm going to remove the ISO, and we're going to start this thing right back up. There's our grub. That's a good sign. Always relieved to see grub. In any shape, I think. Any form. Okay, once again, it concerned itself with us being online, and we are wired. Close that out. This is OpenBox. And right click gives you a menu. You notice you don't have one down here. We could run a program, some software, accessories. We got calculator, Clip It Calculator, Space FM, X Archiver, Compton, and PyCom again. Graphics, we got Geeky. Internet, we got Midori, Office, PDF Viewer, Programming, Kde, Sound and Video. Pretty much the same stuff we had in XFCE, or I'm sorry, JWM. In fact, I'm not seeing anything really different. Bring up 8 stops just because we can. Theme, sound card, screen. That's because, tell you where was I at there. Theme, screen, disposition, outputs, VGA, resolution, 14900. Press enter. Close out of that if I can. And there we go. There's our OpenBox installation by ObarunOS. It's Arch without SystemD. Right now it's running at a cold boot. First time it's booted up, running 215 megs, and it's OpenBox. And there's all kinds of editing or customizations that you can make here. There's Terminator. I think if you'll research some of Derek DT's YouTube channel, you'll see where he customizes the OpenBox, and it's really nice little thing to follow. There's a lot of stuff in here without having to do any customizations, as you can see. That's it. That's OpenBox, ObarunOS OpenBox. I'm going to say sudo power off. Give it my password. Sudo power off, not oof. All right, I'll be back when we're going to be looking at Plasma. The download and installation of Plasma has complete. I powered off. I'm going to remove the ISO. We're going to get started on it again. We should be booting into probably SDDM, which will log us into Plasma Desktop. That was a good sign. So far, this has been a really dependable system. Give it my password, press enter. Plasma by Kde. Let's see if I notice any difference. I don't have the speed of it, how which it loads up. Kde is known to take a while to boot up the very first time. It's not the fastest even after the first time. It's got my mouse right there. You can see it change. I can see the hard drive spinning. Coin a phrase of a friend. Come on, you can do it. Here we go. There we go. All right, so let me change this resolution. Actually, we installed the guest utils. Should be right there. Don't have to adjust anything. All right, well, this is the Kde Plasma. This is the typical Kde Plasma menu. See if I can find a terminal. First thing you should always do is run an update. Give it my password. So you see we are in the sudoers file. Nothing left to do. let's see. Info. Let's see what info says. What version Plasma this is. Yeah, go full screen's even better. Kde Plasma version 5.22.2, sitting on top of ObarunOS. Has their web link right here. Memory, I give it not available. I know how to fix that. At least, if nothing else, temporarily. Let's see. Utilities. G-part on here. Interesting. G-part did not come in. Let's get a terminal. Control-Alt-T. Nice. Let's say LSBLK to start with. We do have SDA1, so we're going to make swap on device SDA1. Up. Sudo bang bang. There we go. Now we're going to sudo swap on device SDA1. And now swap is available. Sorry, try again. Password for Dennis. I did it wrong. Password for Dennis. All right, there we go. Now, if I close this out, bring it back up. What was that? Oh, it was about Info Center. And memory. Wonder why it says it's not available. Let's see. Okay, sysguard. See what it's reporting. Well. Huh. Sudo pacman -s gparted. Password. Enter Y for yes. Please install. USB. PCI. Pretty nice. So we got the new Pac-Man going. All right, now let me find gparted. Open that up, give it a password. There's our, wonder if I can manage the flags. And there is not one for swap. Okay, so I can't manage the flag, but we can say swap on. So the swap on in the command prompt didn't work for some reason. Info Center, memory, and there it is. There's our installation. We got 93%, 6% full. Nice. This is KDE. Very nice. Let's take a look at their menu real quick. Under favorites, we got system settings. Under app, let me change this. Show alternatives. Let's go to application menu. Let's find out. Yep, that'll work. Under development, we got user feedback console, which is a handy utility there. Internet, we have the Avahi servers and browsers. Multimedia, Qt utilities. Settings, we got system settings. Under system, I just installed gparted. Got HTOP, Info Center, sysguard, and console. Under utilities, we have an emoji selection. So you can see this is a stripped down, bare bones, minimal installation of Plasma by KDE, sitting on top of a SystemD Arch system made by ObarunOS. So that's going to do it for this video. We went over all the desktops. I like ObarunOS. I think I'm going to work with it a little more and see what I can come up with. All right, then. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a good day. Shut down. Peace out. Bye.